Good evening. Welcome to another Books and Things with Tom. I search all the time trying to get different people in here, and that's why we call it Books and Things. And I stumbled upon this program that actually my buddy Dick told me all about it, where it's a group that is trying to raise funds to establish a memorial in Preston. And we're going to talk about the two brave air pilots that crashed over the somewhere near the Preston hospital property and died in 1944. 70 years ago, and they're resurrecting these people's lives and done a lot of research on it. So welcome to John Waggoner.
Thank you.
And Richard Vittorioso. Is that close?
You're borderline, but that's okay. We'll take it.
Anyway, how did you get started on this?
Well, what happened was the current president of my council, the Norwich Area Vets Council, got wind of it somehow and brought it to the council and said, hey, because one of the things we like to do is forgotten veterans and memorials and cemeteries that have veterans in it, believe it or not, does not even have an American flag.
Oh.
So that's one of our things as the veterans group, is to try to do something about that.
Sure.
Well, somehow Dennis Baptiste got wind of the crash site up there. And he said, these people virtually have been forgotten for over, well, this was over 2 years ago, so just around 70 years ago, and nobody knows anything about it, or people have forgotten about it. And he said, we need to do something about putting some type of wreath or something on the wreckage up there.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So Dennis had the lead on this at that time, and he enlisted the Laurel Hill Fire Company as a volunteer fire company up there, because that's where the crash was, over the Laurel Hill section of Norwich. And then the planes, after hitting, ended up into the town of Preston, which back then was probably still Norwich.
Yeah.
Before the boundaries got shifted.
Yeah.
But anyway, they had an ATV for getting up into the woods, and they knew where the sites were, so Dennis got the wreaths, and they went up and did it for us, because it's very, very difficult terrain to get in there. So for 2 years, we went up there and put wreaths, make sure they were fresh and in good shape, and just never said nothing to anybody. And what happened was the Preston PRA, they call it, the development agency for the hospital property, had done some logging back up there. There's an old trolley track that runs through there.
Really?
And it goes from Norwich, ran from Norwich all the way to Westerly.
Wow.
And they contracted with a company to go up there and do some logging to make it a little bit, I assume the premise was for fire safety in case a fire started up there, because it was pretty thickly overgrown. So as part of their promotion of the property, they had a tour up there. And they invited everybody in Preston and put it in the paper, anybody wants to go.
Yeah.
And they had a tour up into the woods. Well, they got up there and got to the wreckage, and lo and behold, there was the wreath. And nobody knew how the wreath got there.
Yeah.
So when the article got in the paper, it was a big mystery. And it was kind of written that way. Nobody knows about the wreath honoring the two sites.
Yeah.
So I knew the head of the PRA at the time. So I called them up and I said, you're looking for who put the wreaths up there? And he said, well, yeah, it's kind of a mystery. Who's been doing it? And I says, I can tell you. So he says, I said, do you want me to tell you who it was? He says, yeah, we're interested. I said, it was us, the Norwich Area Vets Council. So that started it. So once that got out, it just went from there. And then Dennis had a health issue, and I inherited it, and I've been running with it since. And Dennis still helps me out.
Yeah.
So what we've done from there is now we're trying to have something more accessible for these two young men. As I stated, and Dick can attest to, because I took him up there to show him part of the wreckage for his book. It's a very, very difficult walk. It's not very safe. And we don't want people all over it because it is a state historical protected site.
Wow.
And I believe there's also still some federal issues with it because most of the plane wreckage is buried up there, other than 2 pieces of landing gear that mark these 2 sites.
Let me point out we have a photo of the 2 pilots that died, and there they are.
Yeah,
George
Ensign
Krause and Longnecker.
Merrill Longnecker, yes.
Now, if I got this correct, they were flying 2 different planes and
Yes.
using a new radar program, right?
Right. The plane, I built the model of it because most people, unless you're an aficionado like myself that loves old history, this is an F-6F. It's called the Hellcat fighter. And they were flying this plane. The only difference was it was a 5N, which means it had a radar dome attached underneath the wing. And they were flying out of a reserve airfield out of Charleston, Rhode Island. And there was 2 of them. What they were doing was practicing hunter-killer techniques as night fighters. Radar by 1944 had improved immensely, and they were starting to outfit a lot of the fighter planes so they could fly night missions, because at night, most of the bombing runs and stuff, other than searchlights or anything to shoot down a bomber, was what they were using.
Yeah.
So with the advent of the radar and the ability to get it small enough to put them in planes, they put them in this night fighter. And they were up doing practice runs on each other over Norwich. And they left Charleston on a moonless night, pitch black, and they flew up over Norwich, and they made, from what I know, approximately 5 successful runs on each other, where one pilot would be the hunter, the other pilot would be the enemy plane. So all of their communications was being monitored by the people at the Naval Air Station, so they knew they could hear what they were saying. And the last run, I believe it was Ensign Longnecker was making a run on Ensign Krause. And from what I know, and Dick might know a little bit more, but from what I know about it, from the investigation by the Navy, was they assumed Ensign Longnecker underestimated the speed he was closing and how fast Ensign Krause was. And they touched either wings or however, but there's several different stories about what happened, but the main thing was is they ran into each other.
What a shame.
And when they did, they cartwheeled down into the woods and both were killed.
So there's 2 crash sites
Yes,
up there.
there is. They're about a quarter mile up apart.
Wow. We have a photo of the Grumman
right.
Hellcat.
Right. You can see what I'm talking about. You can see that big bulbous thing on
yeah.
the right wing.
Yeah.
That is the radar dome. And you can see otherwise the plane that I've got here, the model that I built to show, would be almost identical to that. And this one was more equipped for a fighter. Actually, the plane was designed, that was our answer to the famous Japanese Zero.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. Wow. And the next photo shows the landing gear that's still sticking up. Now, if I understand right, the plane is actually underneath the ground.
Yes.
Wow. And
Parts of it.
That's what's left sticking up.
Right.
I wonder why they left that up there.
I don't know. Maybe just to mark the sites, because, I mean, to me, it's sacred ground.
Yeah.
2 men were killed.
Yeah, they're probably still there, too.
Parts and pieces. I hate to say that,
Yeah.
not to be morbid,
Yeah.
but from what I understand, people that have called me, and believe me, once this got into the news, I can't tell you the number of people that call me that were young children at the time and lived up on Laurel Hill and remember being awoken by the sounds of the 2 planes and the explosion, and some people have actually had gone right up there after that.
Wow.
And so from what I know, there was a bunch of rescuers and everything that went up there right away because the explosion was loud back in those days. And anyway, I mean, it wasn't as 44 compared to what it is now, but there was doctors from the state hospital went up there, firemen, doctors from Norwich, and it took them quite a while to get up in there because of the terrain and everything else even back then,
Yeah.
even though the trolley tracks ran through there. So when they went up there, the planes were scattered all over, parts, pieces, everything. I heard some stories, whether I can't confirm it because actually I wasn't born yet, but some of the planes were hanging out, pieces were hanging out of the trees, and
Imagine
it was really a mess. And the Navy took what they could out of there that was sensitive, but the damage was so great that they basically bulldozed trenches up there and buried virtually everything that they couldn't get out. And when I went up there back in high school, back in the 60s, I went up with a friend, and we went up there to see if we could find the sites.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was an engine still there next to the landing gear.
Really?
And now that somebody since then has figured out a way to get it out of
They
there.
got it out of there.
I don't know. Yeah,
Maybe it was
was-
in winter. It was.
It could have been, but it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But the only thing was, like that picture you showed, that is the biggest piece of wreckage that's up there.
Huh.
There's a big debris field all around that area underneath all of that leaves.
Yeah.
And if you dug down underneath those leaves, or if you had a metal detector, you'd get hits everywhere.
Wow.
But it's a protected site. If anybody gets caught up there doing that, they're going to get arrested because it's a federally protected and it's a state historical site.
Don't want to mess with that.
I wouldn't want to be
Now, is
messing
this
with
where
it either.
you came in, Rich?
Yeah,
get the
excuse me. I
paper?
came in when I found out about the crash, living in Preston. I moved here in 2007. Didn't know anything about it. And I saw this in the paper and I said, what plane crash? So
Yeah.
I began investigating, researching, and the more I get into it, the more intriguing it became. And I spent the past 9-10 months researching, talking to the family, relatives, the Longneckers, Patricia Davies Krause, and visiting Charleston, the Navy base where they flew out of, going to the library, checking the newspapers, going to the site, and it's just been fascinating. And the more I get into this, the more I became attached to the story.
Sure. And now, both pilots are from the area?
No.
No,
Oh.
Longnecker is from New Rockford, North Dakota,
Ah.
and George Krause is from Wisconsin, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
Wauwatosa,
But I know you've got a picture there coming up next. They both flew out of the Charleston Naval Auxiliary Station that night. And if you go there today, when you first go onto the base, which is now known as an Intergrad State Park,
Yeah.
you will come across a monument that has their names on it, along with all the other
Okay,
pilots
and
that lost their lives.
that's
That's
this one
the
here,
monument.
Charlestown.
Yeah.
Naval Monument.
Their names are on there,
Are they?
on that.
Huh.
Yeah, that goes back from 1943 to 65, I
Yeah.
believe.
Wow. So you're writing a book,
Yeah.
and proceeds are going to be contributed to the program.
Proceeds from the book will go towards the fundraising for that memorial.
Memorial.
There is a temporary memorial there now that you have a photo of
Yeah.
in the library grounds in Preston.
That's the wreath that's put there every year.
Yeah, we started doing that because, as I stated, to try to go up there to the sites is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And obviously, the people that are doing this are not spring chickens anymore, and it's very, very difficult to get in there. And I'm one of the few left that can actually walk in there. I have two friends that have helped me in the past, and we've had people go in there. Actually, we brought in there on one of the excursions. He's a member of our VFW post. He's a World War II veteran, and he wanted to go up there. And they've been very kind with an ATV and have taken me in there.
Wow.
Matter of fact, a year ago, during the winter, we also support this wreath across America.
Oh, yeah.
And we put two wreaths, we bought two wreaths and put them up there. And a friend of mine, on the back of an AT in the middle of a snowstorm, the two of us went up there, freezing our tails off, and put the wreaths on the two sites. So from what you can see what I'm saying, it's very difficult to go in there. We try to keep it up because we don't want to leave something up there that, is falling apart. So we check
Yeah.
on it. So because of that, we decided to try to, and we're working with the Preston Redevelopment Agency. We got two people that are a part of our committee that are helping us, and working with the town, so they know we're doing this. So what we decided to do so that we could actually hold a memorial, which was 70 days to the day, we put that wreath in that little plaque out
Really?
in Preston, in front of the Preston Library. And we had a little ceremony, which Dick, I think, was the impetus for Dick to start writing the book, is we had a ceremony, we had color guard and everything there.
Huh.
And we put that wreath and that plaque there so that people, because it was getting more famous, the ball was rolling, and it was in the paper numerous times. I've been in the paper because of this event. And this way there, they're not forgotten.
Yeah.
That's our whole premise.
Yeah, good.
That's the
Yeah.
title. That's the title of the book, Forgotten.
Forgotten.
Yeah. We want something that where people can see it and maybe start to think back to
Yeah.
what they did.
Well, that's the whole premise of veterans is
Right.
to
Yeah.
remind people these people lived.
Right.
And as I said, I contacted both relatives of the pilots. The Longneckers actually had a scrapbook that Merle Longnecker's wife saved, because they were only married a short time before he was killed in that crash. She saved everything. Photos, mementos, letters, and they actually mailed me that scrapbook.
Really?
A 70-year-old scrapbook they sent to me.
And that's the one on the
That's
screen
the
there.
scrapbook there, and you can see the pages from the old days when you used to paste them in the book.
Yeah.
That's the actual scrapbook. That picture will not be in the book, but that book contains letters, photographs, which will be in the book.
Yeah.
And I was just so thrilled that they trusted me with that book.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating stuff. And Patricia Krause Davies also sent me photographs. Those will be in the book too.
Yeah.
So I was really grateful for that.
That's cool. It's nice when people kick in and contribute and help with the information and money to
The thing is, you don't,
further the cause.
when you write a historic book, it's hard sometimes to place yourself there.
Yeah.
But when I looked through that scrapbook from the Krause, from the Longneckers,
Yeah.
I actually was able to hold things like letters
Oh yeah.
and photographs. And I've always said this, and I said this in the book, photographs are like frozen moments in time.
Yeah.
You become attached
Absolutely.
at that point.
And you get to know these people.
Yeah, you do. And I've gotten to know them very well.
Yeah. And I don't even mean the family. I mean the two kids that died.
Yeah.
You get to know who they were and how
When you
they.
talk to the Longnecker family, they still have brothers and sisters that are alive. So you're actually talking to them when they were around at the time that Merle was.
Yeah.
And Patricia, who had a relationship with her brother, knew him as
Mm-hmm.
a child. So you get attached after a while, and you begin to feel the emotions that went through, what they felt hearing the news,
Yeah.
what the reaction was afterwards.
And they, on the other hand, have found a person who's actually interested
Yeah.
in
Well-
reviving the dead people.
Yeah, you've got 70 years
Yeah.
that nobody knew anything, and I thought it was about time
Yeah.
that not only they put up a permanent monument,
Yeah.
but tell the story about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's great. I think that's really great. If you want any more information on this program or information about the book, you can write to either Dick
Myself
or
or-
John.
right.
And I think we got some addresses up there somewhere.
Somewhere.
And but there he is. There's John, and you can get all the information. There's his phone number. You can get all the information you need to help with this program. And I think it's a very worthwhile cause. That these poor people have been forgotten for 70 years. And there's Richard, and he'll be happy to give you any information about the book.
There's a lot of ironies. The book will probably be out sometime end of September, 1st of October, around that point. Well, when I was writing it, I kept coming across ironies. For instance, after the crash, the Navy sent a crew to retrieve the bodies. They called on one of the guys from the Coast Guard to help. He was from the same town that one of the pilots was from,
Really?
and escorted the body back home. Merle Longnecker actually lived in Westerly on Liberty Street,
Oh, no kidding.
and the house is still there. That picture is in the book. So there's a lot of ironies in there that I was amazed at.
Yeah.
Just fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's not just two strangers totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The particular day of the crash, there were 13 other helicopter crashes on that same day across the world.
Really?
Yeah, I think there were 2 in the New London area, and the other 2 were the one in Preston.
Huh.
So a lot
Wonder
of
if they all had radar
information.
problems.
Well, the thing is being military, we do a lot of trainings. We're always playing war games.
Oh, sure.
And people don't think about that. They don't, they know we're out there, but they don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's
war
one of the
games.
other reasons why we want to memorialize and what our goal is to get a bench, basically.
Okay.
We want to put a bench out there in front of the library where people can see it.
Yeah.
There's already another memorial there with 3 names of young men from Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to add to that because people go in and out of the library. It'll be out where people can see it.
Sure.
And we can go out there every year and do a little ceremony on their
Yeah.
anniversary.
And make people proud that this is
Yeah.
this is a heritage type thing. You
It
should
is.
be proud of it.
It's
It is,
history.
It is. It's, and raising the funds for this has been kind of hard for John because it's been so many years.
Yeah.
So, but he's getting close. He doesn't have that much more to go. But
Right.
I'd love to see that bench there myself.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think the families would too. They're absolutely thrilled that the story's finally coming out.
Yeah. Well, this is why I wanted you on the show so we could tell people about this program and about these 2 soldiers, airmen that died
Right.
They were so young,
right here.
They were young, yeah.
Yeah,
young.
they're kids.
both in their 20s. They were just out of their teens,
Oh.
and they had a full life ahead of them.
And one was married. Was the other one married too?
No.
or-
No. The other one was married a little over a year, a little less than a year.
Jeez.
And his wife simply adored him. Like I said, she saved everything, matchbook covers and letters. In that scrapbook
Yep.
is actually flowers that were placed on his casket the day of the funeral.
Really?
And I took a picture of that. That photo will be in the book.
Yeah.
But imagine touching those flowers
Oh, my
after
God.
70 years that actually sat on that casket.
Yeah.
It's just, you get
That's-
emotional doing that.
Yeah, because people have even forgotten about the Charlestown Air Base that it was down
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We have one in Groton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Westerly itself had the Army flew out of there.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of air bases
air
around. In
bases.
fact, there's a site on the internet you can go to if you put in lost or ancient air bases,
Yeah.
and it lists all the ones that were around that you can still find today, remnants of.
Huh.
But to go to Charlestown, the Naval Air Station, and stand on that runway
Yeah.
is historic.
Oh, yeah.
There are markers there besides that one with the names. There's another one at the far end of runway 30 that states that George H.W. Bush flew out of there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can go see that.
I've been down there, but I was down there for the car show and the
Hey, well, they have,
seafood fest.
yeah, they have
Right,
seafood
right.
fest and everything.
There's a lot goes on.
But how many people know that standing on that runway, the history behind it?
Oh, no.
Really?
Of course not.
You go out there and say, it's just another runway, you
Yeah.
know. But history was made there.
I think so much of our local history, and I mean local, in that these places are local, is lost.
Yeah.
So,
They know about the Germany thing and there's different things, but a lot of the local stuff is just.
right.
Exactly.
And once the older people die, nobody ever talks about it again.
No, unless, like I said, it was just fate that I saw his article in there and that I decided to write the book and then it all meshed in together.
Yeah.
Because we've become very good friends now, working
Sure.
together on this.
Sure.
But I think the story needed to be told.
Right.
And I'm glad you did that because we've been corresponding back and forth. Dick and I are old friends. Well, he's old. I'm just a friend.
I'm
And,
young, he's old.
So we've been talking about this thing for a while, and it's just I'm proud of you. You did a good job.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
can't wait to
Yeah.
get it in print and get it out to the families.
Yeah.
I think they'll be thrilled.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I hope so.
that's amazing. We got about 5 minutes left. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, if we touch anybody's hearts and they agree that this is a worthy cause for the reasons that we stated,
Yeah.
we always remember, and I'm not trying to play down the people that sacrifice their lives in combat,
Yeah.
but one of the things being a veteran is that I like to bring up is that we always forget the ones that were not in combat. We lose thousands every year
Yeah.
of young men and women in training, like I said, like these two gentlemen,
And either way,
preparing
they,
for combat,
either
and
way
we
they,
forget about them.
either way, they gave their lives in
Right.
sacrifice
Oh, yeah.
for the country, you know.
There's a couple of helicopters just went down a
Right,
couple of
they
days
just-
ago.
yeah,
They
it was
weren't in war.
Yeah.
A young Marine was killed.
Yeah.
And also with myself, I lost 2 shipmates on the USS Scorpion, the submarine that went down. It was during the Vietnam War. I got 2 buddies that never came home.
But you look
And-
at it that they were contributing because they were testing that radar. What would their contributions have been in life had they
Yeah.
gone on?
Oh, yeah.
Where would they have gone?
That's right.
And how did that help the war effort? You know.
Yeah.
So they gave their part in the service for their country.
I'm a member of the Park VFW Men's Auxiliary. I couldn't get into the war. They didn't want me. But so, you know, I'm very familiar with what you guys do. And so if anybody has anything that you want to say to them, maybe if you've got some memories, or contact either Rich or John, and let them know what you can help them with. Maybe you can go up and give a hand shoveling the dirt to get the.
We can't touch that site.
No, I mean at the library
Okay.
to get the new bench set in. Anyway, contact them. The emails or addresses up there and the phone numbers. I'd love to see this done before winter.
Yeah.
I
got a
would
ways to
like
go
to,
yet.
but October 19th is coming up very fast. We'll be out there doing a little memorial that day. Actually, it's on a Monday, so I'll probably do something on Sunday, a brief little ceremony,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you know, for people that are interested. So I will be doing something out there with my group.
It's easy to get to,
Okay.
right off Route 2.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. The library is on Route 2?
Library is right on Route 2, yeah. Just
Okay.
before you, on the way to Foxwoods, it's on your left. If you're coming the other way, it's on your right.
The town hall is right there. It's
Yeah.
town property.
Town Hall
Oh,
grounds.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will get stuff in the paper too, because I've been trying to advertise when we do these things. Because like I said, part of the Norwich Area Vets Council, we try to do things like for people that are forgotten.
Yeah.
And the other one we're going to be doing in December is, believe it or not, Pearl Harbor.
Oh, really?
We got 2 people out of Norwich,
No kidding.
and they've been forgotten.
Wow.
On the Arizona,
Huh.
never came home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had a couple of announcements to make, and I forgot my list. This afternoon or tonight at the Park Duck VFW is free chowder and Clanford is if you purchase a beverage, and that's where I'm going right after this, and we'll go and get some dinner. What else we got? I can't think of too much else going on. Got a lot of things going on, but I can't remember what they were.
That's because you're older than me.
Yes, it
I can't
works.
remember anything.
I got 3 picnics this weekend.
Yeah.
Labor Day is Monday,
Right.
and this is the latest it can be.
Yeah.
And there was another holiday that was the earliest it could be, or something anyway. Anyway, this is the latest it could be. It's on the 7th. That's that's quite a ways in, and the kids are getting back to school,
I know. Early.
and fall is coming rapidly. You wouldn't know it outside today, though.
No.
No, it's hot out there.
Yeah.
But the leaves are starting to change, you notice that?
No,
New
I
England
haven't.
weather's coming in.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the nights. Look
Yeah.
how cold it is at night.
I know, but it's pleasant.
Well, I want to wish you luck, John.
Thank you very much.
And if you have any questions, contact one of them, or you
Yes.
got my email
Feel free
address.
to call me. I'd be more than happy.
Absolutely.
Get more
And
information.
You can contact me at santostom@comcast.net. And you should be reading Cuddle Up with a Good Book. And I'll see you next week. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
I like this one.